Wow, The Social Dilemma, eh? What a great documentary. There were definitely certain parts that I didn't agree with, like when they talked about conspiracy theories and stuff like that, but let's leave that out. I just want to focus solely on the technology side of things. You may have heard me talking about how we're programmed by society, cultures, our parents, all these different things already, and that's one of the things that we need to do in order to reach our true selves, is to be able to shuffle through all that conditioning and programming. However, technology is now an additional layer that we're facing, which is manipulating our minds and our behaviors and how we're acting for the sake of company profits. So that's just another layer that we need to be aware of that exists, that could be preventing us from reaching our true selves and becoming our true selves. That's why I really wanted to create today's video. When I watched that documentary, it made me very angry, because one of my top values in life is becoming my true self and who I really am, and I want to help people do that themselves as well, and support them along their journeys. And while I also need to acknowledge the fact that I have benefited from social media. I was one of the first generations of social media marketers back in the day, where, you know, it was exciting. Facebook was exciting, and doing marketing on those platforms was exciting, and I was one of those first social media marketers that existed, and it was an exciting time. And then from the information that I got from working in marketing and social media marketing, and then later becoming a marketing manager, I also managed to build an online business where I utilize social media, and which has given me the freedom to live life on my terms. And now I'm able to reach you through the same means, and I'm creating another project where I'm able to support people along their self-love, self-discovery journeys, and that makes me excited. So I just want to acknowledge that social media isn't all bad, and I definitely have benefited from it. However, the way that it's progressing now, and the manipulation that is encoded in these platforms, and the ethics behind these companies, is really getting a little bit too far. And this is the part that worries me, and what that made me angry while watching this documentary, because none of us really understand what is happening behind the scenes and how we're being manipulated. Which is why I think this documentary was so important, and it's so good that it became so popular as well, because more people know about it. What they choose to do with this information is up to them. I'm choosing to make changes, and in this video I think I provide 16 or 17 examples of how I'm going to make changes to make social media work for me, rather than me being a slave to social media and to technology, and how I can set very strict boundaries and very strict intentions of how I use it. So I hope this video helps you, and let's get to it. Oh, before we get to it, if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, because I would love to have more subscribers to make more videos for. That would be just wonderful. So if you feel called to, hit the subscribe button wherever the hell it is. Okay, bye. I'm back from the beach. I think I got a little bit sunburnt. We will see what happens tonight. But I wrote down a list of things in my bullet journal. Anyone who doesn't know what a bullet journal is, look it up, because this is the best thing that has probably ever happened to me in my life. Maybe not, but it's probably Falcon. But this is a very close second. And my sister got me onto it, and it has organized my life and my thoughts, and just made life so much easier. So how I'm going to change how I use technology. So first of all, admitting that I'm an addict, that these fuckers got me in their technology companies. Apparently there's like, when all of this started happening, at Google there were like 30 young white men who had the power to control 2 billion people, and because they were coders and they were creating all these codes and the programs for Google and for email, and you know, social media and all that kind of stuff. Imagine that there's a handful of people that you don't know what their values are, you don't know what their traumas are and whether they've healed them, you don't know how open their hearts are and how in tune they are with their own humanity, and therefore understanding of what humanity needs in order to thrive. And these people have control over our brains right now. That just is crazy to me. Yeah, it's important to be aware that if you are addicted, and to what platform. For example, my biggest weakness is Instagram. I can scroll for hours on Instagram, and the addiction that it has caused for me just makes me waste so much of my time unnecessarily. When I quit Instagram for a month, my head just cleared up so much. It was crazy. It felt like this invisible thread that normally is linked to Instagram and normally wants to constantly open the app and scroll through. It's like it disappeared and my head became clearer, and I just felt so much more grounded in reality, and it just felt amazing. So it's important for us to know what we're addicted to, what is triggering that addiction, and for me it's definitely Instagram, the biggest addiction. Yeah, those fuckers have got me good, and I don't like that. I don't like anyone controlling me or what I do in that sense in particular, or in any way. I just want to be my true self, and if there's a hint of someone trying to program me or manipulate me in real life, then I don't play. I walk away, and I'm seriously considering doing the same with Instagram. But before I do that, there's a few other strategies that I'm going to be applying in the meantime. One of the things that they said in the documentary was about filters, and how having filters is causing a spike in plastic surgeries, and the other day it was the first time that I started playing around with like the face altering type of filters, where you have eyelashes and your skin gets all smooth and stuff like that. And it's interesting, what I noticed was that after I was playing around with it, when I switched it off, I would kind of have like a ooh towards my own face, towards my real face, and I was just like, this is not healthy. So it was interesting that they mentioned that in the documentary as well, because I felt that if I continued to use different face altering filters that make me look a certain type of pretty, that could really affect my ability to love myself fully. And that's really not something that I desire. I don't intend to spend money on plastic surgery ever. A much cheaper way of going through life is loving yourself fully, in my humble opinion anyway. And that's what I want to do forever, if possible. I also accidentally left my phone at home while I was driving towards the beach, and for a split second I was like, yes, I'm definitely gonna just leave it at home and not have to worry about my phone. And then I was just like, but what if I break down? What if something happens? I need my phone in order to call people. I don't have anyone's numbers. I don't remember anyone's numbers. So another thing that I'm going to do is just document people's numbers, like especially just emergency numbers, in my bullet journal, so that if I ever want to just leave the house without my phone, I'm probably going to take my bullet journal, because I take my bullet journal everywhere, and I'll have people's numbers, and then it's not a big issue anymore, so that I can just not be attached to my phone 24/7. I don't like having to rely on my phone and carry my phone everywhere. I want to leave home without it sometimes. One thing that I also did today was I started counting how many times I was picking up the phone to scroll through the app, and I counted that I picked up the phone 4 times before 11 o'clock this morning, and just to scroll mindlessly. And I caught myself as soon as I had to start counting how many times I was picking up the phone. I was just like, oh, okay, I don't actually want to do that anymore. So I ended up deleting the Instagram app for today completely, and for as long as I need to, because that's what I did when I had a break from Instagram. I just quit the app, and every now and then I just delete the app off my phone, and I'm just like, well, it's a hassle downloading it, so I'm just gonna log in when I really want to, or if I need to promote a video or something like that. But deleting the app for me is a really big one and really good strategy, and I'm just trying to disconnect my brain from the app by cutting that cord of not having it on my phone. And to be honest, it's really funny, because as soon as I delete Instagram off my phone becomes so much less appealing to my brain. I'm just like, it's just a brick for me now. Like, it has no value apart from emergency stuff on it now, like if I needed to call someone, or there's not that addiction pulling it towards me. But when I do have the app on my phone, and when I'm in that really addictive state, I really notice that pull to pick it up. But I didn't even realize that I left my phone in the car when I went to the beach. That's just how much I don't care about it. I don't feel the need to constantly show where I am or what I'm doing and all of that anymore. That's kind of something that I stopped thinking about when I had my break from Instagram for a month. I was just like, it's actually really nice to have special moments just to myself, where only I know what happened, and only I have these memories, and I'm not sharing it with the world. There are certain things that I really enjoy sharing that are in line with my vision for what I want Instagram to be and social media to be, but for me, because they track so much of us, I'm not going to use it for my personal stuff anymore. This is for me to further my mission, to help people, to support people on their self-love journey, to help people come back to who they really are, discover their truth, and remember their humanity. These are my intentions for using social media and technology now. I don't want to share all of my personal stuff on there anymore, because I don't want people to manipulate me with my data that I'm freely giving, apparently, that they feel that they can just take and manipulate me with without my consent. I didn't even know all this stuff was happening, and I worked in, corporate marketing years ago, and back then technology was pretty shit, but not as bad as it is today. I never consented to any of this. Another thing that I want to implement is not touching my phone 2 hours before bed and 2 hours in the morning. 2 hours before bed I find much easier than in the morning, because at night I kind of have more of a nighttime routine already, where I have a shower, I massage my breasts, do my skincare routine, or I might also just read or do some pottery or do some art. And I really am starting to enjoy my nighttime routine, so it's not that much of a hassle for me to not check my phone at that stage, because I'm actually enjoying life. But for the morning, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh, it would be interesting, like that addiction kicks in. Oh, it would be so interesting to see if anything happened overnight. So I really struggle in the mornings, and I need to have some kind of a better routine that I really enjoy more than picking up the phone, something that I wake up and really look forward to in the morning. So I'll be coming up with a beautiful morning routine for myself that just makes me not want to pick up the phone, just makes me want to go through with my morning routine. Did you fart? Was that a fart? Did you fart? Do you need a poo? Do you need to go toilet? Stay. Excuse me, we need to go to the toilet. Falky just farted. He probably needs to poop. Another thing that I'm going to do is start organizing more fun things to do in my life. So going on more trips in my van, having more days off work, just enjoying life, instead of being stuck in this reality that isn't really even reality. It's kind of like living vicariously through other people's realities, and being manipulated into just being sucked into this fucking thing. I want to live life to the fullest. I want to be addicted to living life instead of addicted to my phone and to technology. I want to experience the fullness of life. So doing more things, connecting with more people, going on adventures, even just going outside and spending time in nature, doing more creative things like art. I've started pottery, I do art. When I pick up the paintbrush, I can't stop. I just love creating stuff. I've started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu again, and that's been really fun, tumbling with people, no social distancing, and it's just, it's so good. I love it. Having people sweat all over me, and yeah, it feels like pre-corona. It's great. And just learning a new skill, being able to defend myself if I need to, but also growing stronger within myself, but also hurting in the meantime, because it's a lot of a workout, and I've been sore for the last few days, and I have bruises all over me, but that's okay. It's just, I wear it as a badge of honor for the lessons that I'm learning. Another thing is like determining what my values for my life are. What really matters to me? Is it sitting on Instagram for 5 hours a day? Or is it spending time with my friends, with my family, doing gardening, spending time in nature? What are my values? How do I want to, what are the top values in my life, and how do I want to live my life? So that is something that I'm really kind of thinking about, and I kind of know anyway, like connecting with people. I love connecting with people face to face. I love making new friends. I would love to have a partner at some stage, and just being social with my friends, with my family, being in the garden, learning about nature, learning about how our food grows. It's amazing. Being creative, creating stuff with my hands, especially pottery. It's like that connection with ancestors, because our ancestors created these pots many years ago, and now I'm kind of continuing that tradition, and it's so fulfilling. And and art as well. How many of my ancestors were artists, I wonder? I know my grandma was a great artist. Where did she get her art gene from? How can I continue this beautiful legacy of my ancestors and create this art that will live on through the ages? Maybe. Also, on an interesting note, I had a thought, like, isn't it curious that the moon that we see every night is the same moon that all of our ancestors have looked at one stage or another? Isn't that amazing? Looking up at nature, experiencing nature every single day. Nature isn't just some kind of flimsy thing that we get to dominate over. When we have that kind of an attitude towards it, we suffer. We disconnect from ourselves and we disconnect from others, because we are nature. We are a part of it. And we've created this weird illusion and societal mental illness where we think that we're above it in some way, but we're not. We live on a planet every single day. We're born on this planet, we walk on this planet, we love, we make love, we poop, we pee, we sing and dance. Everything that we do, we think is on this planet. We're humans on a planet. We're part of this ecosystem. But what we're starting to do is destroy it, and we're at the same time destroying ourselves. When we destroy the planet, we destroy ourselves, because we are not separate from nature. We are nature. We are a part of it. We're not just visitors. We are part of it, and we're supposed to be here as guardians, as participants of nature. And this beautiful magic, this beautiful flow of nature. When we really truly tap into our true nature, into human nature, there's a flow to life, there's a beauty to life. When we disconnect ourselves, we have suffering, we have depression, we have anxiety, because we've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten what we are. We are nature. We are a part of this planet. Always have been, always will be. I had to drive home because Falky was hungry and I didn't have any food for her in the van. Where were we? Ooh, this is a good one. And I do this a lot. The reason I need to, whenever I start to scroll or find myself in that addictive pattern, often I need to stop myself and go, Steph, are you putting something off, or are you repressing some kind of an emotion that wants to be expressed, but you're trying to avoid the pain and therefore distracting yourself with social media? Or is there a void in your life that needs to be filled, which you're trying to fill with social media? And often I have an answer for that at that moment. Yeah. When I'm feeling upset in particular, I'll just stay on my phone for ages. So, and then eventually I give in and I dive into my pain and I sit with it and I love it unconditionally and I listen to the message that it has for me. And then I feel better. And then I don't feel like I need to mindlessly scroll anymore. So that's another reason why we might spend a lot of time on social media, and just bringing that awareness to the scrolling. You know, why we're doing that. It's important. Just being aware. Like, sometimes the movement, the addiction that they've created in us is so unconscious, we don't even notice that we're doing it. So once we bring that consciousness to it, we're like, oh, whoa, why am I on this thing? think I mentioned this before, but spending more time with real people in person. One of the things that I have tried to utilize Instagram for successfully is actually making connections through there, but then translating those connections into real life. I actually really hate constant messages and voice messages. I find like sometimes you're just sitting there messaging someone and they're messaging you back at the exact same time, and I'm like, why don't we just pick up the phone and talk to each other? Or why don't we just go, hey, let's talk about this stuff in person and catch up for a coffee or a pizza or at the beach, and or do something fun. Let's go horse riding or kayaking or something adventurous. Let's not spend all of our time just texting back and forth. Set a play date and go play in this wonderful world. That's definitely something that I'm going to be putting more boundaries around, is the texting back and forth. I'm just gonna say, hey, I don't really do texting that much. I prefer to meet up in person. Let's do something really fun and adventurous. Let's create some memories. And that's another thing. All of this around is about boundary setting and really taking our power back, bringing our energy back and not allowing it to be utilized without our consent and without our permission, so that we know where we end and that technology starts. Because it's muddled, like when they create that addiction, it gets muddled. We don't know where our energy starts, where it ends, but when we create those boundaries, it's a really powerful way to take that energy back and stand in your power. So boundaries, this is everything that I'm talking about now, is just being really good with boundary setting. Boundary setting is life-changing, and this is what I'm doing in order to protect myself and my energy. And it's also a form of self-care and self-love. So I love boundary setting. It's one of my favorite things in the whole entire world, to be honest. I love setting boundaries. I love setting boundaries. I love setting boundaries. Okay, do you like setting boundaries? How do you do with setting boundaries? I would love to know in the comment section below. Tell me. For me also, I am going to start working towards deleting social media permanently. I've been thinking about this for a while, about deleting Facebook and deleting Instagram. I still like YouTube because I'm not addicted to it and I still learn a lot from it. You know, there's positives to social media as well, but I feel like the amount of Facebook is just full of angry people, I feel, and it's just chaotic. Instagram takes up way too much of my time, and I also don't like the ethics behind these social media platforms. I don't like the ethics of Google and YouTube either. YouTube belongs to Google. But I want to be able to get my message out somehow, and at the moment, YouTube for me is the most desirable way to do this because I enjoy creating videos. I feel like we can build more of a rapport this way. You can kind of get to know me a little bit better by seeing who I am, instead of just like these little posts of, you know, pretty pictures and small captions. I just don't feel like those platforms give enough value, and they also take too much. They're too addictive. I've already deleted Facebook off my phone, and I only have Facebook Messenger on my phone just so that people, my friends, family can message me, and that doesn't bother me at all. But saying that, the ethics of the company behind these apps does bother me. So I am actively looking for other platforms to start to use, like Telegram. which is an encrypted service and doesn't have ads and doesn't have all of the algorithm bullshit that Facebook and Instagram and anything owned by Facebook or anything owned by Google has. So I've started using Telegram more, and I think I might start building a community on there as well, just so that we have a space where, you know, it's private and it's not, our minds aren't manipulated in there as well. And also for personal emails, I'm going to be starting to use Proton Mail, because that's encrypted as well and there's no advertising. Google isn't spying on you. I use Gmail for my emails at the moment, and Gmail is just, they see everything in there. So Proton Mail is encrypted. I don't want anyone looking at my personal stuff. That's none of their business. I'm going to start changing. And I really hope that a better video platform comes along and we can start uploading videos there and grow our communities on there. And I hope that we can replace Google eventually, which is highly unethical, and a better search engine comes along which is ethical and cares about people more than it does profits. So I'm looking forward to the day that that happens. I hope that there are people out there working towards this, because I will be the first to jump onto new platforms and switch. I'm a switcher. Anything that doesn't feel in alignment with who I am, with my ethics and morals, anything that doesn't feel in alignment with my personal integrity, I've been cutting it out for a few years now, and I feel so much better within myself. And now these platforms, I feel, are just taking it way too far, and I don't agree with them. So I am ready to switch when alternatives come, and Telegram and Proton Mail are definitely the beginning. And I think one of the most important things is that I don't want to beat myself up if I slip up. If I do jump back onto Instagram and start scrolling, I never want to beat myself up about it. I just want to be realistic and go, hey Steph, it's okay. We all slip up sometimes, and you know, this is what they've created is addiction within you. So it's not really your fault that you're this addicted, and you're making changes, you're taking action in order to make changes. So, and occasionally if you have a little bit of a slip up, that's totally fine. You're making progress with this. So I don't ever want to beat myself up about it, because it's not my issue to beat myself up about it. These people have created addiction in people, and I don't agree with it. If you liked this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up. All this social media, bloody blah, algorithms like it, help me out. Let's get these messages out to more people and create more freedom, love, and unity in the world. Love you guys. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next video.